What is new, Speed Duel crew? This is your Speed Duel Professor here, coming at you with a deck profile with Jesse Carpenter for his Deck Out Turbo deck.
Hey there. So this is my Speed Duel Turbo Deck Out deck. I just wanted to go over the deck here. So a couple things you should know. First off, these are the two skills, minusing this. These are the two skills that I use. It's As I Predicted and Collector. As I Predicted is going to be your main one, and Collector is just kind of a bonus. As I Predicted is, instead of your normal draw phase, you can look at the top two cards of your deck, and you can add one to your hand. Then the other one is going to be sent to the graveyard. So it's kind of a pick and choose what you want in your hand, and then also what you want in your graveyard, which works pretty well for the deck. So that's the first part of the skill. The second part of the skill, this has to do with Exchange of the Spirit. So I'll go over that here first. So Exchange of the Spirit, if you and your opponent both have 15 cards in your graveyard, you can use this trap card in order to swap the grave in the deck. And it's a good way of decking people out. Maybe not the original way, but with the skill, the second part of it allows you to basically changes the card so that only I, as this player, need to have 15 cards in my graveyard to use it. So it's really useful in that matter where, you know, I have 15 and the opponent has 0. I just swap it and then they can't draw. The other part of the skill is if this is in the graveyard, I can actually just banish it and then use the effect as well. So if I mill this to the graveyard with the deck, it doesn't matter. I could just banish it and use the effect as long as I have 15 cards when I'm trying to do the effect, and it does include itself. Next skill is going to be Collector. Just kind of a nice overall skill, I feel like. It's once per duel. If an opponent controls a monster, I can discard 2 different cards of 2 different types, so spell, trap, monster, and then add the third type as long as I discard the other 2 to the graveyard. I can add that third type from my deck to my hand. So it's a very good search card as long as you have set up in your hand for it. It is only once per duel, but that's really all you need. So let's start with the monsters. We've got 3 Card Trooper, first of all. This is the pretty much one of the main monsters in the deck. It's going to get where you need to be going. The main effect that you're going to be using is going to be, you can choose a number between 1 and 3, and that is cost, just so you know. And then based on the number you chose, you mill that many cards from the deck to the graveyard, and that's pretty much how you fill up your graveyard really fast if you can get it. Like I was saying, it is cost, so if you get your effects negated, the actual mill will still work. You just won't gain the extra 500 attack per card you send, which isn't nice, but you want to mill the deck to the grave, so that's all we need anyways. The second set of monsters, it's going to be 3 Sphere Karibo. These are just stall cards. You just keep them in your hand, and when someone attacks, send one of them per attack to the graveyard, or discard it, I should say, to the graveyard, and then it just changes the attacking monster to defense, effectively stopping that attack. And you can do that as many times as you have Sphere Karibo in your hand. That's Sphere Karibo. We've got 2 others here. We've got Medora. So this is probably the other big card in the deck, monster-wise. This one, whether you're on the field or in the grave, he has a quick effect, which is basically banish him, and you can add 3 cards back from either grave to their respective decks. So it's, you know, really good if you need something like a back row removal, or if someone needs to have their cards put back into their deck for you to mill them out. One other thing I should note, if Exchange of the Spirit is in the graveyard already, Medora does say you can send up to 5 cards back from the graveyard to the deck from either deck. So that's nice as well, considering we're using a heavy Exchange of the Spirit deck. That's the second monster that I would say is the most important. I have it at 2 because I don't really feel like I've needed to send back too many more than the actual 10 that he can do. Next monster, or monsters. The first one here is going to be Lava Golem. This is just kind of a generic get rid of, I guess, more than one problematic card. Or if they just spam the board, you can use that It's, yeah, just tribute to monsters on the opponent's field. Special summon this to their side of the field. So it gets rid of cards. It is also a burn card. So on their standby phase, unless they can Book of Moon it or get rid of it somehow, it's going to do 1,000 burn damage to them every one of their standby phases. So it's kind of an alternate win con, I guess you could say. But I mainly use it to get rid of problematic cards. So one more card. For monsters, it's going to be Neospatian Grand Mole. This is a really good problem-solving card as well. So it's just at the start of the damage step, if this battles, you can basically send this and the monster that it is battling back to each of their respective hands. So you'd send this back to your hand and then the other problematic card. Now you don't have to send it back, luckily. So if you just want it to go to the grave, you can do that. But that is the last monster, and it's just a good problem-solving card. One other thing with these two, they work pretty well together. So if you manage to get a lava golem on your opponent's side of the field, you can then, on the next turn, if you are still good by then, which most likely you will, you can summon this out, attack it, and because it's before damage calculation, you don't get any damage done to you, and you add both of these back to your hand, which then gets them down to hopefully 0 monsters on the field. So that's kind of a fun little random thing that both of those can do together. So next, let's go over the spells. The main spell that will get you to your win con is going to be Mirage of Nightmare, which I run 3 of. Now you can run, 2 of it if you want. I just find that the amount of milling that you can do with them is really good. So Mirage of Nightmare, during your opponent's standby phase, as long as it's face up, you get to really just draw cards until you have 4 cards in your hand. So it's really useful, especially with Sphere Karibo, where you can stop an attack, and then some other things like other stall cards that you might, want to use. It also, my standby phase, or the controller's standby phase, this will proc and basically make you discard the same amount of cards that you drew from your deck to your hand. So that's another way of milling, and this works very well in conjunction with Card Trooper, which also mills, as I stated. So you can, at most, get, 7 cards per turn, and even more normally. So the next part of these spells, now I'm going to keep Mirage here just because the next ones are kind of using it. It's going to be Emergency Provisions. Emergency Provisions, basically you can send any card in your back row to the graveyard, and for any card sent that specific way, you gain 1,000 life points per card. So works really well with Mirage of Nightmare, especially if you don't want to lose your hand. And it's a quick play, so you can just use it in your standby phase and chain it to this, which basically makes it so this does not discard the cards if you want the cards in your hand. We've got 1 Mystical Space Typhoon. That is our limit 1, but just same reason as Emergency Provisions. I was having some other issues with back row decks, so I added one of those in. Next one is going to be Soul Release. Now you don't necessarily need this, but I feel like it's useful because it definitely gets rid of some problematic cards that will be or are in the graveyard that might have graveyard effects that only the other opponent can use on their turn. So you get rid of those, and then they can't do it, and you can deck them out a lot easier and more efficiently. So next are going to be the trap cards. I will start off with 2 Exchange of the Spirit. I'm only running 2 because I feel like 3 is just going to hurt the consistency of the deck, and I don't want to run 1 because they could banish one of them, so I run 2. This card is the main card in the deck, as I stated before. You just swap the grave in the deck, and I need 15 cards in my graveyard in order to do the effect. After that, we've got 3 Wabaku. So these are going to be pretty much your main stall cards. They're super useful. Pretty simple. You just chain it to whatever, or at the start of the battle phase, use it, and they can attack still, but no battle damage is done, and no monsters can die by battle either. So helps stall the game. Those are the main ones, like I said. I've got another couple here that kind of act similar to it. It is 2 Hallowed Life Barrier. Almost the same effect. So you discard a card, and then it's worded the same way as Wabaku, but this also stops effect damage from doing damage to you, which is nice. So it's really good against burn decks if you happen to be about to be, you know, koala'd. So then the final trap is going to be 1 singular Quaking Mirror Force. I would run more, but I've figured that 1 is fine, and I'd like to chain if they're going to destroy something. So Quaking Mirror Force, when something battles against me, it changes all of their attack position monsters to face down defense, and they can't change their battle positions. One thing I should note, if you do put out Swords of Revealing Light, which I don't have in this deck, but it's also a good card, that will bring their monster cards back up, but they will not be able to change their battle positions. They'll just stay in defense. Kind of a nice thing, but if you do that, then their effects can go off, so I wouldn't do it. So the next thing is the side deck. You only get 6 cards, unfortunately, but I have 4 of them for specific reasons, and I'll go over that. The first 2 I have, that's 2 Twisters. So this card is a quick play card. All of these kind of things are going to be quick plays. Basically, it's just pay 500 life points, and then destroy a face-up spell or trap on the field. Now, the only reason I have back row removal in my side like this, and I'll go over the 2 others that I have, but the only reason I have this many is because of like Macrocosmos decks, which very much hurt this deck. The only way that I've been able to figure out how to kind of problem solve some Macrocosmos deck is by just having a bunch of back row removal in the side, because this deck really doesn't have that many issues against other decks. It's a very highly competitive deck, and it's just mean. But beside that, yeah, that's 2 of the side deck cards. We've also got the other 2, which is going to be Double Cyclone. Now, I have these 2. They aren't, I would say, as good as Twister, because they actually need a card on my side of the field. But I also use them to take out things like Mirage of Nightmare, or if I, you know, have Exchange of the Spirit in my hand and I want to get it to the grave, I can put that face down, then Double Cyclone it away and take out another thing on the other side of the field. So that's 4 back row cards. I know it's a lot, but it's a really effective way. Next 2 cards are the last 2 cards in the side. One of them is going to be Nobleman of Crossout. Now this one's just kind of a generic flip effect monster removal. It's mainly used against burn decks, but if you use this, you can get rid of something like Koala, and then all the rest of it from their deck, and just banish all of them. So gets rid of one of their win cons, or at least quite a bit of them. The next one, and the last side deck card, is going to be Prime Material Dragon. I've chosen this one for a couple reasons. This is actually another card that's good against burn, because any burn damage that you take that's not a cost, I should say, that will, instead of doing damage to you, you'll actually gain that much life points instead. So it kind of negates a lot of the burn deck meta that there is. The secondary effect, which is nice, if a card on the field is going to destroy a monster or monsters, I can discard a card to the graveyard and negate and destroy the card that's doing that. So it's very useful for, you know, those decks that can just get rid of cards with card effects. Another reason why I have it is it's just a bigger monster, because as you can see, I don't have very big monsters in here. So if there's a deck like Iron Grit, when they have Macrocosmos up, I can't use Card Trooper's effect to gain the attack to get it up to 1900. So I have to pretty much rely on this until I can get back row removal, and then I can start doing Card Trooper stuff. It's also nice because if they Book of Moon it, it still has 2000 defense, so it's hard to beat over defense-wise.
Thank you so much for the deck profile, Jesse.